On today's episode of PDubs Arcade Loft, we're going to show you how easy it is to set up the Hylo X on your Neo Geo MVSX. That's right, dudes. The Hylo Team hit a home run here. Over 242 games are possible, and it's a super fast, super simple, super easy mod. All you need is a flash drive and 10 minutes. Okay, guys, we're over on the PC, so you'll notice here that I already have the files. As you can imagine, I can't tell you where to get them. I can't share them with you. Don't ask. Please don't ask. But guys, yes, once you have the files, it's going to come over looking like this. Now, what you'll end up having is two zip files right here. Boom and boom. That's what you get. Also, if you get your hands on the add-on packs, that's what this particular zip file is as well. You're going to need both of these in order to get this to work. What you're going to want to do is you're going to go ahead and hit your 7-zip and or any extraction tool. We just want to extract it here, and once it's extracted, you'll notice that you now have you have your README, and obviously, guys, always want to read your READMEs. What we need, obviously, is we are going to need the MVSX folder, which has all of the content in it, the games, the images, the ROMs, the music, all that kind of stuff, right? And then, of course, we're going to need this update image, right? So we're going to need to put that on a flash drive. This is a 64 gigabyte SanDisk USB 3.0 flash drive. What I'm going to do is, because I just do this out of habit, right, is I just format it. Let's go ahead and format it exFAT, the default. Let's label this. Let's name our drive Hylo X Hack, right? That's going to be the name of it. Hit start, hit OK. Format's complete, so our thumb drive is ready. Okay, guys, and then, of course, what we want to do here is find our thumb drive. Here's our blank thumb drive, right? So what we want to do is we want to grab the update image, and we want to grab the folder of content. We're going to drag and drop it over. It couldn't be simpler. And again, guys, this is a 64 gigabyte flash drive. This stuff appears to be less than 3 gigabytes. It's going to take less than 10 minutes to get everything copied over. So we'll be... Okay, guys, everything finished copying over. What's really cool is we do have that uninstaller. Don't forget about that. Obviously, to update your cabinet, you're going to want to have the update file on the USB. When you plug it in, the cabinet detects an update file and updates the machine accordingly, installing all the goodies underneath that folder. Now, let's say, for instance, you ever want to remove this, or you make a mistake, or it doesn't go through properly, or you just want your machine to be the same way it was when you originally purchased it. Well, instead of putting the update in here, you would just take this uninstaller disk image file, put that on your USB stick, and plug that into the arcade machine to get the Hylo X hack removed from your arcade machine completely. So just a heads up there, guys. Now, what I would love to do is just plug this in the machine and get to gaming, but if you recall, guys, we did download those game packs, so let's take a look at that. Alright, so our original Hylo X hack folder is getting a little cluttered. I'm just going to make a new folder real quick. I'm just going to call this Game Packs. Game Packs, and I'm going to take the Game Pack zip file, and I'm going to drop it in there. That way we can kind of keep things cleaned up. Going to open that. We see it's in here. Let's go ahead and extract them here. And let's go ahead and open this up, and boom, you have your README file with instructions. It just simply tells you copy paste in the same directories as here, overwrite files if prompted. Okay, guys, here we go. So before we get the game packs copied over onto this particular file to update and add a whole bunch of other games that weren't included in the original Hylo build, if you guys wanted to take a look, you could open it up and you could scan through the individual games list. And you can see all the wonderful goodies in here that we're about to add to our thumb drive. Obviously, at this point, what you want to do is just drag and drop, and it is going to copy over everything. Once it's getting near the end of copying, after it's dropping all the games and files where they need to go, it's going to say, hey, do you want to overwrite an existing file? You definitely want to mark yes to that. And once you mark yes to that, you're done. You're ready to plug this into the machine. Okay, so right here you'll see when it gets near the end of copying, it says, what do you want to do with all the duplicate files? you want to replace the files in the destination, and go ahead and just let that get finished for you. Once this is done here in about 10 seconds, we're ready to plug this into the arcade machine. All right, we're over at our Unico SNK MVSX cabinet. All we're gonna do is pull this bad boy off the wall, expose that USB port, take our USB drive, and go ahead and get that plugged in, and go ahead and get this back facing the wall. Obviously, make sure you don't go too far back and crush your USB drive. And now we're going to go ahead and power on the device. Now, the USB drive's plugged in. You'll notice that the original user interface and everything fires up. You'll also notice, though, that you have a USB icon in the bottom left corner. Super awesome. You know the drive is there. All we have to do now at this point is head up to that settings cogwheel on the top left. And once we enter that, we'll be able to scroll down just a little bit, and you'll see System. And when we get down to System, all we have to do is see it says there's a System Update 1.0. It's reading that from the drive. All we have to do is hit A to accept, and it'll say, hey, there's this Hylo Stick X for MVSX. What do you want to do with that? Do you want to update with that? And of course, we're going to hit the OK and go ahead and let it run. Shouldn't take too long, less than a minute. Now, here's what's interesting, though, is, and this happened to me, hasn't happened to everybody, but what had to happen is after I did the upgrade, I did have to power on and off my machine twice to get full control of my controls. It was kind of weird. The joystick would not work, but once I powered on and off on 2 occasions, everything was working, and every time I've powered on since then, it's worked without an issue. So just a heads up, guys, if your joystick doesn't work after it does this reboot process, power on and off your machine. If it doesn't work, power on and off again. Do it a couple of times before you start the whole process over. After I did it twice, all my controls were working, and they've been working ever since. After it finishes installing and rebooting, you could either launch the original MVSX user interface or Hylo Stick X. We want to launch Hylo Stick X. A good way to tell your controls were not working is if you were missing that little Neo Geo logo that goes, that highlights whatever game you're picking in the menu selection. If you don't see that logo, that means your controls aren't reading. But if you did a power on and off, you'll see the logo and you'll be able to cycle through and play a bunch of games. And I got to give a huge shout out to the Hylo team. You developers did an amazing job. The games are so much fun. They play really, really well. And of course, you guys put a lot of our favorite Neo Geo games on here, as well as some really nice surprises from some other publishers on this build. 242 awesome games, including all the original games that come with the cabinet as well. It's just glorious. And of course, I mean, we got Baseball Stars 2, and of course, a ton of Neo Geo fighters are on here. I know a lot of Neo Geo fans really love those fighting games. Pretty much, I'm just a big fan of the Neo Geo King of Fighters series. Several of those games in that series. A lot of my absolute favorite Neo Geo games are some of the really goofy ones like Neo Pong, Puzzle Bobble. I love a lot of the sports games, the Running Gunners, and the Brawlers and things like that. I mean, playing games like Prehistoric Isle. I mean, these were the awesome, awesome games I remember and I really enjoyed because honestly, you know, fighting games are super cool, but minus King of Fighters, like I really never got into Art of Fighting and all those other ones, but I should give them a shot. And I don't think anyone's going to complain about Puzzle Bobble, right? We need Puzzle Bobble in our lives. If you guys have been following my channel, you guys know I love Shock Troopers. That's an included game with the cabinet stock, but Shock Troopers Second Squad, heck yeah, man. I'm in. Let's do it. A couple interesting items to note, guys, is I recently interviewed Bill McLaughlin on my channel from Unico, talking about the Hylo X and the future of the Hylo X team. Unfortunately, he's going to have to focus primarily on working officially with Unico moving forward. The Hylo X builds and mods and hacks and stuff, that will continue, but without him on board, there will be official builds coming out from Unico soon for this particular cabinet. So that's good to hear that you guys will have options. Either you can hack this thing, play your own games, or you could play the official builds coming out from the company. Sounds like they're going to give us the ability to purchase, download, and add more games as well officially, but then again, you also have access to this as well. But keep in mind, guys, too, some of those official builds coming out will end up blocking Hylo X. per my interview with Bill. I mean, in all honesty, guys, if you've been also following my channel, wasn't really interested in this cabinet until the Hylo X hack came out. That's what put me over, made me pull the trigger and purchase this bad boy. So honestly, guys, I'll probably just stick with Hylo X instead of the official builds. I don't want to put a firmware on here that'll prevent me from running this. This build is perfect. You know, roughly about 250 games. That's all I need. I mean, honestly, out of the 250 games, I might only end up playing about 50 of them regularly. And, you know, so that's kind of how that cookie crumbles for me personally. Definitely would love to hear your opinion in the comments of the video. So if you guys can get your hands on the Hylo X hack, I would highly, highly recommend it for this particular cabinet. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. Yes, there's about 250 games. There's games from other publishers. I don't want to show those off in this particular video, but trust me, guys, there's some really, really good ones in this list that you're really going to enjoy from some big-time publishers. I hope in the future Neo Geo and Unico can partner, and maybe we'll get an SNK versus Capcom cabinet from them. I think that would be really, really cool. Overall, guys, I'm really enjoying this build. Once again, thanks so much to the Hylo X team. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this quick tutorial video, and hopefully you guys can get your hands on this out there in the wild. Leave your comments and feedback below. Do me a favor, guys, give me a thumbs up on the way out, and as always, thank you for subscribing.